While the Walt Disney Company's 2025 annual meeting of shareholders was particularly lacking in the way of substance, such as executives like Bob Iger hiding behind pre-screened AI-delivered shareholder questions, there was one project that was officially announced, which was that this supposedly creatively driven entertainment company, one that prides itself on its unique storytelling ability, would be investing in yet more sequels. And in this case, Disney's quite literally bringing back the dead. Let's talk about the announcement of Coco 2 here on That Park Place.
There is one final thing from the earnings call that I want to talk about specifically here. And that is the fact that they just, out of the blue, they announced that we are getting Coco 2. It was not intended to rhyme, but it did here. They announced very few things on this earnings call, but Coco 2 was one of them, and I actually was surprised about this, and I was a little wrong. I asked some questions that were leading to a conclusion that turned out to be false. So I'm gonna retract some of that here. So Coco 2 is set for a 2029 release from Disney and Pixar. I hear that 2029 release has now been removed from Disney's announcement here, so no big deal, but that's fine. Disney and Pixar are returning to the land of the dead for Coco 2. Disney CEO Bob Iger announced the follow-up film during the company's annual shareholder meeting. The sequel, which is early in the development process, which is when you announce everything, right? When they don't know whether or not they're actually going to make it, that's when Disney announces all of these. While the film is just in the initial stages, we know it will be full of humor, heart, and adventure, he said, and we can't wait to share more soon. So they don't have a script. Here's the interesting one right here. Coco director Lee Unkrich is returning to direct with Adrian Molina. Mark Nielsen, Pixar veteran known for Toy Story 4 and Inside Out 2, will produce. Vash, I think you probably know where I'm headed on some of this here. Adrian Molina has a interesting recent history.
Yes, she does. I don't quite remember what the history was, but I do know that wasn't she supposed to be the co-director on that film?
No, Adrian Molina, he by the way.
Sorry.
Was the co-director on Coco 1, which should just remain Coco, by the way. Right. It's also one of the few successful properties that Disney could draw from at the moment. Last film that John Lasseter was involved in. Adrian Molina was the co-director with Lee Unkrich on some recent cruise line stuff. They showed Lee Unkrich as the director of Coco. So I thought, what's going on with Adrian Molina here? Well, Adrian Molina was the director of Elio, which, by the way, Elio, there's a new trailer out for Elio, and it looks good. But the history on this makes me wonder what happened. It's better than the previous trailer, which said that Elio was going to be coming soon. And by the way, about the same time that Inside Out 2 came out. That was last year, for those of you not tracking this at home. It had a teaser trailer to say that it was going to come out around the same time as Inside Out 2, and then we hear nothing for a very long time. And then the next announcement that we get is that they've added 2 directors, one of them being Domi Shi, who directed Turning Red, and also Bao. Bao is one of the better shorts that Pixar has done over the last few years. So I was starting to wonder, well, where has Adrian Molina disappeared to? And if he's been replaced on this film, which, that essentially to me says that they rewrote this entire film. By the way, changing one of the principal characters, America Ferrara, was going to play the mom, and now Zoe Saldana, is going to play the aunt. Which, by the way, the aunt is much more prominently featured in this new trailer. So I'm very surprised to see Adrian Molina's name here. I think that's probably a good thing, but he's not the reason that I think this is going to be successful. Vash, do you have any comments?
I do agree with you. I think Lee Unkrich doesn't get the credit he quite deserves, especially when you look at the extended brain trust, let's say, or the people who have contributed towards the creation of Pixar films from before. I mean, just a really talented guy. Amazing works that he has done. I think Toy Story 3 also too can be attributed to him, and just phenomenal stuff. Again, Coco was actually a really good film. And
Yeah.
it was one that, if you're a company who was looking to add diversity to its portfolio, this was absolutely the way to do it. This original film, this original take, really setting up Latin America culture and so forth, and especially as it relates specifically to Mexico. I mean, it was really, really well done. A fantastic tale, fantastic movie. My problem is that the creative engine of this company is completely stalled, and this is just another example of that. Instead of creating another original work that could captivate audiences as well as Coco did, what do? They gotta sequelize, let's say, their existing product and lineup. That's great. Yeah.
Right.
But this company's doing fine.
But by the way, Unkrich is one of those original people there at Pixar. He was the editor on. They probably had more than one editor on Toy Story, but he's listed as an editor on Toy Story, and his first co-director role was Toy Story 2, which, of course, famously directed by John Lasseter, fixed by John Lasseter. Depending on where in the process you want to start tracking his involvement, but Lee Unkrich is very talented, and he was the director of Toy Story 3, part of the Pixar Brain Trust for a very long time. So whatever they can do to keep him happy and also keep people like Andrew Stanton, who is currently working on Toy Story 5. Are they on 5 now? Yeah. They need to keep a hold of them for as long as possible. So other things that got announced during this, they officially talk about Percy Jackson season 3. They did a Lilo and Stitch sneak peek, and Bob Iger, on the tail end of all of this, said, "Oh, by the way, yeah, we're gonna do some kind of Figment short or something like that." So, yay!
Yeah, exactly. I'm sure that was a natural question that just some shareholder randomly asked, and hey, guess what? Bob Iger was able to make an announcement out of it. How adorably convenient. So,
Yeah.
But I do want to include a couple of super chats in this segment here, Jonas.
Please do. Although I do want to point out that I can't wait for them to, and I don't know this is true. This is me just wild guessing. I can't wait for them to announce that Josh Gad is going to be the voice of Figment.
Don't say that. Don't put that out in the universe. I think that's actually how that's going to be. I absolutely love this. The mum for $1.99. Coco 2 is shovel ready.
Is dirt moving, or is the shovel ready? The mum.
Exactly. We're gonna need did they ship in dirt and then move that? I mean, we're gonna need some clarification on that. But that was fantastic. Aldo's journal with the $1.99. Coco 2 Resurrection.
Remember me?
Dun, 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 dun. Remember me. No, okay. That's good stuff right there. And then Doge with $2, and I definitely agree with this statement. Bring back John Lasseter. Indeed, that's the one thing missing from all of these sequels, reboots, movies, originals. No touch of John Lasseter.
Yeah, I mean, if Jonathan Majors is out there making a campaign to try to get back in at Marvel right now, if you're following the trades, you see somebody like Jonathan Majors is out there trying to get his way back into the industry. Of course, Rolling Stone is quickly pouring water on a lot of that, because recordings of him saying that he did horrible things are also coming out at the same time. I'm being vague because I want to keep this PG-ish here. So if Jonathan Majors can continue to act, maybe just give John Lasseter a minder that he trusts, and just let him do the amazing things that he does that keep what should be a $400 billion company get it back up to where it needs to be, because that's really what's missing at Disney right now, a chief creative officer who knows what they're doing on the level of John Lasseter.
Absolutely. And people who know their John Lasseter history, by the way, guess which film that he was touring the press junket or showing up to events when he was delivered the news that, there'd be Me Too allegations against him.
Yeah.
Actually for Coco. So kind of sad.
Yep. And Dragon Queen for 2, because they have nothing else to talk about. Yes. I do believe that is the problem there.
Thanks for watching That Park Plays News. For more information, consider checking out www.thatparkplace.com. And don't forget to subscribe, share, like, and send this out on your favorite social media accounts.